Well, we ain't even 3 days into 2026, and America has gone into a sovereign nation and kidnapped their fucking president and his wife. As last night, the U.S. conducted military strikes and covert operations with special forces, aka Delta Force, and sent in Black Hawk helicopters with Delta Force Army Special Forces to go and kidnap the Venezuelan president, all while attacking key and pivotal points and bases and airports within Venezuela with air.
I want to say this, right? Kidnap, I guess, but they're planning to have him stand trial. So I don't know if I would still call that kidnapping with the plan to stand trial. Some would call it arresting, but regardless, right? And you can look up the information. I want to talk about this where first off, I want to say this. I'm critical of the government's foreign policies. I think we should 100% stay out of other countries. Don't give a shit. We should not care about the Middle East, Ukraine, anything, right? Any of those places. We shouldn't care about outside of the country. We should focus on the country, our country, America first. We should focus on America first. But this is the problem we have, okay? You can't on one hand say, oh, let's support Palestine. Let's support Ukraine. Let's support what's happening outside of your country. And then when America does, but again, they do how they think it, right? When the government does how they think, whoever they want to support, or, they want to interfere in other countries, now you complain. Literally, like during the whole thing about Trump's deportations of illegal immigrants, we constantly said, oh, you know what? We need to take care of illegal immigrants, right? We need to care about them. We need to do whatever we can for human rights and all this stuff. Well, guess what? U.S. government is doing the same thing. That's what they're doing, right? This is for the Venezuelan people, right? Capturing, arresting, and putting on trial what the U.S. government thinks as a terrible person. This is the problem, right? When you constantly trying to push, oh, we should care about what's happening outside of our borders, guess what? Well, people you don't like will use that also as an excuse. Okay? You can't on one hand say that, oh, we need to care about Ukraine, we need to care about Palestine, and then outside of the U.S., right, borders, places outside of the border, our borders, and then when the U.S. does, you complain about it, right? Because this is the thing where, how do you think, okay, sometimes you can rectify things happening in another nation, right? A nation that you have no power over. How do you think governments do that? Or takeovers, arrests, things like that, kidnapping, right? That's how, right? You interfere in other nations. To be honest, I've said this before, I've been critical of it. I think the U.S. should not care what's happening outside of its borders. 100%, in my opinion. They shouldn't. I don't care what's happening. They shouldn't care what's happening in the Middle East. We shouldn't send troops over there. We shouldn't send weapons, money, whatever, outside of the U.S. I'm sorry. But when people want to support Palestine, Ukraine, all stuff, guess what? Now you leave it open where U.S. can pick and choose. Oh, you know what? You want us to support whatever? Okay, we will. Now we're supporting, right? We're supporting a country. Supposedly these are terrible people. Well, this is what you're doing, right? And that's the problem. I just no, America first.